I became the workaholic doing 80, 90-hour work weeks. We got ourselves in some debt. I turned into coping mechanisms, which was addiction. That drove me into a divorce. That drove me into losing my business, my self-worth, and my marriage. And I started to see patterns.
The one-on-one, how much is that?
One-on-one is $15,000 for 3 months. Pretty leveraged on crypto. I'm ready for the bull run, baby. YouTube is the #1 place that people dive deep. Also the most searchable and discoverable of all the social platforms.
Welcome Angus Nelson to the show. Angus is the host of the Evolve Leadership podcast and the founder of the Wealthy Entrepreneur Circle. He is specialized in modern business psychology, has spoken at Walmart, Coca-Cola, BMW, and Adobe. He's based in Lisbon and he helps leaders achieve fulfilling ambitions and a wealthy life. Angus, welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for having me, Matt. That was nice and succinct. Perfect. Well done.
Yes. What's your mission on the planet? Let's start here.
I want to take entrepreneurs out of the grind. My whole mission is to give them a healthy, that whole well-being, that life and work balance, this thing that we talk about as some kind of unicorn that doesn't exist. Well, I'm here to say that it does. And that's how I was able to move my family to Lisbon and provide an incredible marriage and have a quality of life that's filled with rest and profit.
Love it. What did you do before in your previous life, and what inflection point made you then actually start focusing on exactly that mission?
I had two different key components. The first one was my own first business. I ran into the ground out of my own narcissism and selfishness and just naivete. And I became the workaholic doing 80, 90-hour work weeks. We got ourselves in some debt. I turned into coping mechanisms, which was addiction. That drove me into a divorce. That drove me into losing my business, my self-worth, and my marriage. And from that, I got into counseling because I had to figure it all out. And I started learning about human behavior and psychology. And that was an epiphany to me. I never knew that stuff existed. Flash forward about 12 years later, I'm running an innovation association for Fortune 500 brands. I'm working with 74 of the top companies, everything from some of the names you already listed to some of the European ones like BMW, Swisscom, Swiss Post, and some of the lesser Americans won't know some of the other brands, Carrefour, et cetera, et cetera. And I'd be on calls and we'd be talking about digital transformation. We'd be talking about innovation. And then the conversation would change to how difficult that role was in those large organizations. And I started to see patterns. And as I'd be talking with some of my clients, one day, one of my clients from Verizon said, I guess you'd make a great coach. I'm like, I don't know what a coach is. And I started studying about it and learned like, hey, I actually have an empathy and a compassion around this. And I have a perspective to take chaos and ambiguity and turn it into making sense in a path. And that's what I started doing about 8 years ago. And now I do it full time and this is my life.
Great segue to talk about today. So what do you actually really sell? And if you could guide me through your offer stack, including lowest price point to the highest price point.
Mm-hmm. So we went from doing everything one-on-one and started learning about what was the needs, what are the pain points of the entrepreneurs we were serving, and how do we articulate those. I did that for a number of years until I realized I could craft it into something that could be a group setting. So I took those pattern matches, turned it into a methodology. And then we built it on an app. I don't know if you heard about this app called Passion.io. Yeah, we built it on that. And that became the basis foundation for everything we do. And so currently we're just running two different programs. One is one-on-one. That's my premium. That's for, the people that want to invest heavily in themselves and have a custom one-on-one experience. Right. But then our main price point is at $8,000 for a year. It's a mastermind, which takes them through that foundational piece. And then in addition, creates an entire community around like-minded, high ambitious, leaders who are trying to transform their businesses into something that's fulfilling and satisfying.
Right. Very clear. 8K a year, real quick, the one-on-one, how much is that?
One-on-one, that's $15,000 for 3 months. So it's high ticket.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. I guess like in terms of ideal customers, would it be high performers and startups, Fortune 500 companies?
Yeah, my ideal clients are in the entrepreneur space. So I do have SaaS, I have, startup. And then on the other side, I have, the person who has a marketing agency, the person who maybe is running a consultancy. I have one client who came out of the film and television industry, and now he teaches communications to people in the tax and accounting world, a very unique niche for sure.
Yeah. If I were to interview some clients of yours and would ask them, hey, what problem are you truly solving for them? What would they tell me?
I think the main thing for them is a sense of confidence because there's an audacious piece inside them that says, I know I'm made for more. And every one of them are hitting these ceilings and they can't pass, whether it be revenue, whether it be, head count, whether it be client count. And they're like, why can't I get past this level? And every one of my clients that comes in has this introduction to an aha moment that it isn't about tactics or strategies. It's about what's inside. And you have a belief system inside you that needs to be unlocked. They don't know that. They're not problem aware, as we say in the marketing world, as of yet. What we address is the tangible piece. Oh, you want more money? That's why we call it the Wealthy Entrepreneur Circle. Let's go. Let's make some cash. And to get to there, we got to work through your money stories, your belief systems, your fears, and all the things that are those oh shit moments we have in our heads that are keeping us up at night because we realize that at the end of the day, we don't have business problems, we don't have relationship problems, we don't even have financial problems. We have personal problems showing up in all of these areas.
That makes sense. Real quick, just to get a feeling for the timeline, when did you launch? What year did you launch? Like the group setting, the most recent like level up of the business?
Sure. So I'll give you just real quick. I started in 2016 was when I formalized and started doing one-on-one. I started my first group iteration back in 2000, end of 18, early 19, and it was all men's focus. It was Evolve Men was our brand. Last year, we started to get into more of the business space and the startup space. And being just men's focus was not necessarily well accepted in a world of equity. And so we went from Evolve Men to Evolve Leadership. And so we had that group setting that we currently have in its iteration, the Wealthy Entrepreneur Circle, started last year. And then we refined it this spring to make it what it is today.
What software tools do you use to deliver the value to your customers?
Funny you should ask. I think it's called passion.io. That's how we do, all the foundational piece. But then in addition, we use Google Meet for all of our group meetings. We use a combination. We've been back and forth on the community side. No shade on passion. Well, I don't mean to be shade, but this is an encouragement and a challenge for you guys. Is the community aspect's been difficult for us inside the app. And so we've relied on Marco Polo, which is a video transaction. Some people are a little more comfortable than others, but once they get into it, it creates great vulnerable and transparency when you can see someone eye to eye and they're sharing some of their stuff within the community. That's been amazing.
Got it. Yeah. A leveled up community is coming later that year.
Come on, bring it.
Yes. Let's talk about success. How many total paying clients do you have today, and how many new clients are coming in on a typical month?
Right now we're at 22 in the group right now. And then one-on-one clients, I have 7 one-on-one clients. And we're actually, you caught us at the chance that we are scaling right now. So now it's like we just started Facebook ads because now we want to grow beyond. We've been adding 2, 3, 4 people per month. But now with our ads, we're starting to go on a broader spectrum because we can scale. Having a tool like Passion, having tools, where I have now a team and delegation is a good thing. It's a beautiful thing. And I have a senior coach that helps me with a lot of this now. We're ready to take on larger numbers. So we're right in the middle of just doubling down and taking us to the next stratosphere.
Let me double click on that. So you make with 29 clients, essentially 22 and 7. You make ballpark based on the price points. If I take the 15K divided by 12, like 1250, and then the one-on-one as well, it's like 30K-ish a month.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
How's that ramped up over the years? So let's say year on year, if I go back, I don't know, since COVID 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, how's the business ramping up? Is it more like stable? Is it like slightly growing? We'll talk about the future in a second as well. But
yeah, we've grown every year. And shockingly, because you have years, and I know you can appreciate this, there are some years that feel like a slog.
Yeah.
It's like you're just pushing harder. That was last year. Last year for us was a slog. When the economy kind of soured in March, we lost a lot of our bulk of our revenue. We had 7 one-on-one clients that just disappeared just in the course of 5 weeks. And that was brutal. and I had to apply some of my own techniques just for myself, because I was having those nights of like,
Yeah,
oh
feel the
shit,
feeling.
what's going on, right? And you gut through the year, and then your bookkeeper comes to you and says, yeah, we did our profits, we were 17% more than we did last year. Like, what? How is that possible? It doesn't feel like we did 17% more. So every year we've incrementally gotten more on revenue, but admittedly last year low on profit. And so last year was our lowest profit year. And that's obviously a big difference. Top line revenue, cool. I'd rather have profit. I don't care what the top line revenue is.
Yeah.
And so this year moving forward is, we don't want to just, get more capital. We want to become more profitable.
Yeah, that makes sense. Real quick before we talk about that, so like top line growth, like is it 20% more? Like is it like just a little growth? Is it 50%? Is it 100%?
Yeah. So last year, like I said, we were about 17% growth over the year before. Yeah. So, and that's been about right. We've had a couple of years where we shot up, 35 or 40%. But this last year was a little more incremental.
Okay. And how big is the team? If I were to have that secret chat with your accountant, what are the biggest items on the cost side of the business? Is it you and a few contractors, a few tools, and that's it? Or is there anything else?
There's me, there's my wife, who handles kind of the strategic operations, keeps me in check. She's super smart. She's the detail person, loves to cross the T's and dot the I's. Then I have Tim, my senior coach, who's just incredible with his empathy and compassion and connecting with people and building community. And then on top of that, I've got a project manager, Vic, and then I've got an EA. And if you don't have an EA or VA or whatever you want to call them, like that's your first hire, is find somebody to run your time, run your calendar, run your calendar, run your email. And then I have some other contractors, help us with some video editing here or our podcast editing.
Okay, very clear. Is it fair to say then it's I mean, you spoke about profit so much, like what is it like? It feels more like a net 30, net 50 business. So not 80, but because you have 5 people in the team and so on.
Yeah. And, fortunately, some of those individuals are in areas where it isn't like paying an American, so we do get by on some of that in context of costs and liabilities.
What do you do with the proceeds?
What do I do with the proceeds?
Yeah, like the money that is left in the bank at the end of the year or so. Like you reinvest it, you buy, I don't know, property, crypto. Like, well, what do you do?
You nailed 2 of them. One is reinvestment in the company, and 2 is crypto. So actually, I'm pretty leveraged on crypto. I'm ready for the bull run, baby. And this season we're in right now, over the last 110 days, has just been like, oh, you guys, let's go. So yeah.
Let's talk about customer acquisition, lead generation. How do you get eyeballs, awareness about your offers?
As I stated, we just started doing paid ads. So this is our first, entree into that world in full force. The prior was all organic, creating great content, telling great stories. I have a beautiful family. I've been doing content for a long time, so that part comes easy to me. That's been a little bit more advantageous. And then we jump into the DMs. Is as people engage, we start conversations, and conversations lead to cash flow. And if you're running a business and you're afraid to have conversations with new people, you've already shot yourself in the foot. And one of the things, if I could just give a real quick encouragement, if that's you and you struggle with that, I would tell you, stop thinking sales and start thinking solves. Start thinking about solving people's problems. So when you get into conversations with people, take from the perspective of, I'm trying to give people opportunity. I'm trying to give people a life. I'm trying to give people money. I'm trying to give people something they desire. And it changes the psychology about how you do sales.
That's powerful. Moving from sales to souls. And so that means organic content, no paid content, and conversations through DMs, and then discovery calls.
Yeah. We're getting better at discovery calls. We used to do kind of the old hour and a half long, free coaching. And now I've gotten those down to like 15, 20-minute calls. And also recognizing that things have changed in our world. And you have to think also in context of the length of time of a sales cycle of developing like, know, and trust with a coach, you're being invited into a very intimate piece of their life, at least for us, what we do. And so that sales cycle, I don't do a lot of high pressure sales. I let it simmer, and I provoke, and then I follow up. And that's the key. Follow up, follow up, follow up. And then eventually they finally say, I don't know if you can cuss on here, but it's an F it moment, as I say. It's where they finally, it's like, let's do this. And once you get a person to that moment, then it's like, we're all in, let's go.
Just real quick, how do you get someone to say, let's freaking do it? By going from 90-minute coaching, free coaching to 15-minute.
Yeah, because the content alone has gotten so much better, and now we can provide additional content, long form content, where we can send them into a podcast, send them into one of our YouTube videos, and let that do the. My team hates this word, but indoctrination.
Yes,
is like people have to like fall in love with your ethos, and you can have 14 different people doing the exact same thing, but you're going to gravitate to only one. And that's what we want to do, is we want to attract the people that are swimming towards us, because there are people who like the way that I love Jesus. I love whiskey. I cuss like a sailor. Like, I smoke cigars. If you're cool with that, we're on.
yeah.
Like, I live in Europe. They can paint a picture on why, whatever they think that is. But it's like those people that gravitate towards that are my people. And when you understand that your brand is a reflection of who you are, and you most likely attract people like you, and you're like leading a path. And as long as you're a step, 2 steps, 5 steps, 6 steps, 20 steps ahead of them, like they see a line of sight for what's possible for them.
That makes so much sense. Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of things I just took from this, but one is, instead of doing 90-minute explainer on like why this makes sense, they already have watched it through organic content here and there, and they know like that this is for them. So they just show up to essentially taking the final step.
Yeah, and they want to see, are you, like, in this world of crazy, social media, are you the same person I'm seeing on screen?
Yeah.
Are you the same person? Like, do you have, when I'm on a call with you, do I feel that same warmth, or do I feel that same connection? Do I feel that same reality? Because if you don't align with the stuff you're putting out into the world, it's really easy for people to pick up on that, even on just an energetic state.
What's your secret then to grow and convert your audience?
What's my secret? No varnish, no bullshit. Like, being real, being vulnerable. Like, everybody knows about my porn addiction. Everybody knows about my alcohol addiction. Everybody knows about my divorce. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not afraid to share it. It's part of my story, and it made me stronger. And I do that because I don't want anyone else to have to go through it. That's why I do this.
Let's talk about the future. Can you triple the business in the next 12 months? And what strategy will get you there? Paid ads? What else?
Paid ads and stronger sales system. So some of the sales parts of it have to change because of the mechanisms of bringing people into the world. And in the world of social, if they're coming in organically, there's a little bit more time development. Whereas if we're coming in with paid ads, we want to shrink that cycle. So it's a matter of giving them additional content strategically. So in other words, can we take them from that, being a cold lead into a challenge, taking them into some sort of podcast or a YouTube that is specific for that individual? Like, we don't just have one that we send to everybody, but hey, this is a thing you shared. Here's a thing for you on that topic.
What's the biggest thing holding you back personally on that next level of your business, and what's your best bet to actually resolve it?
So if I were to sit down in my own coaching mechanism, it's really about belief. Like, I have a number here sitting on my wall. It says $2 million. 2 million. Let's do 2 million this year. I don't know how, and I don't take on the pressure of how. I just have a what, and I follow every door that opens. And on two fronts. One is I'm setting myself up as an identity. How do I run a $2 million business? How do I embody that? How do I think like that? How do I put my intention like that? And I think like a $2 million business owner. And then second of all is, as the opportunities are like this, Matt, when someone presents themselves, hey, would you like to be on my podcast? My answer is yes. If this is something that I feel is going to be worth the time and it's going to get me in front of the right audience, I say absolutely. If it's podcast, ABC that just started on their episode 6, it's probably not worth my time. And I don't mean any shade on you. I don't want to be offending you, but I've got to spend my time very wisely.
Yes. What's the biggest potential marketing channel then to drive massive growth? Is it going to be
partnerships? Just like this. For me, it's now leaning on, I've built a massive network. I've never made the asks. Okay. And so this year is about making the ask. Hey, can I be on your show? Hey, can we do a collaboration? Hey, can we do affiliate? Hey, can we do all these different aspects of partnerships? And I'm finishing my book and getting my book out into the world. The current title on that is Confidence Comes Later, because it's the one thing that everybody thinks they need before they start anything, and it's bullshit. Nobody starts anything with confidence. Everybody starts it afraid.
Got it. That's exciting. Next section is called Favorite 5. It's a fast-paced section. I'm going to speed up the speed. And if you could answer in one word, it would be appreciated. Sure. So let's take it away. What's your favorite business book?
Favorite business book? Oh, gosh. You said this was to be fast. Favorite business book, I would say right now, is 10X is easier than 2X.
What's your favorite way to get inspiration or to learn and grow?
Right now, meditation. Brand new. Never got into that before.
What's your favorite person that you are studying, your role model?
My role model right now would be Alan Satanik, marketing genius.
And what's your favorite event or conference that you have attended or would love to attend?
South by Southwest. It's fantastic.
What's your favorite online tool for building your company?
Right now it's Opus Clip. Multiplies your long form content into short.
Yeah. What's your favorite city or place that you would love to move to?
I already did. I'm in Lisbon. But next city would be something in the Mediterranean on the water. I'm going to say an island in Greece. Yeah.
That's right.
Mykonos would be amazing.
Makes sense. What is the biggest thing on your mind right now?
Growth.
Personal section, also a real quick one. How many hours do you work per week then?
Too many right now. I would say 50, probably 50 hours a week.
And how many hours do you sleep per night?
6.5. Whether I like it or not, I cannot sleep past that.
No. What's the situation today? Married, single, any kids?
Married, 3 children. I have 2 here in Lisbon. I have one that's currently in the States. She just took on a new Web3 job, and they're going to let her move to Portugal. Ooh. So she'll be here by the end of the year.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
And what's your age?
I am 53.
Nice. Advice section. It's the final section. If you were to lose everything today and you would have to do it all over again, how would you do it?
I would start immediately by starting on YouTube and creating content consistently. And I would start talking to my friends for help faster, immediately.
Just real quick, why? Why would you like start on YouTube to create content there?
Because content is the most searchable and the most where people are in the curiosity stage, they dive deep. And YouTube is the #1 place that people dive deep for whatever reason. And it's also the most searchable of all the and discoverable of all the social platforms.
What's the best piece of advice that you've ever received from someone?
Don't take it personally.
And final question. If you could go back in time and have a conversation with your 20-year-old self, what's the best piece of advice that you would give to your younger self?
It's not about you. It would be the same thing. It's not about you. Get out there and do the thing that you see in your heart because you can.